Hey there. I want to talk about the power of clarity. It's something that has been a big focus of mine for years. And I built the early part of my business around it. I've built Humanity Inc. around it as a really big core tenet of it. And to me, it's the foundation of being able to have any kind of impact, especially as an entrepreneur, but any kind of impact in the world. And I think that it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs tend to brush through, getting this really big handle on the clarity that we need to get to take focused action. So what happens is, we get this really early clarity about what we think we want to do as an entrepreneur. We have this drive, we have this feeling that we're meant to do something bigger. And the problem is that it's hard to get really clear on what that is without putting some work into it, without putting a little bit of process into it. Now, there are the lucky few who have total clarity on what their mission is and what their vision is and how they're going to take action on that and how they're going to show up. But for the rest of us, it's a process. It's not a gift. That feeling that you have is what you know you're meant to do, right? But articulating that is really hard. Articulating that takes time for most of us. And for many people, it takes years. And for some, they never get it. And I think that's just a shame, because that clarity is something that can come to you if you put some investment into getting there. And you are meant to have it. You will get it. And it's not an indication of whether you're meant to do this work or not. I guarantee you that if you have that drive and you have that feeling, you are meant to do that work. So this process of getting clarity is a process, not a gift. And I want to give you a little bit of an example of how much of an impact clarity can have as far as the momentum that you get and your ability to make an impact as a change maker. And this is an analogy that I love to use in my teaching and when I share it with groups. But I want you to think about clarity like water. We have resources. And our core resources are our time, our money, and our energy, right? And they expand a little bit, they shrink a little bit. We can think of them in fixed terms. I only have so much time, I only have so much money, I only have so much energy in a day, right? Or we can work in abundance. And that's something that I want to kind of get to and see how clarity amplifies and gives flexibility to our resources, our time, our money, and our energy. So I want you to think of clarity as our ability to amplify impact. Let's use the example of water, right? If I have a garden hose and I have a fixed amount of water, if I have resources running through my garden hose, I have water, and it's a fixed amount of water, and I run it through a garden hose, and I spray that water around. I can water my garden, I can wash my car, I can crimp the end a little bit and make it squirt out a little bit harder, a little bit faster, right? It's the same amount of water flowing through no matter what. But I'm not going to do a ton with that hose, right? I'm not going to have a ton of impact. I can get some things done with it. Now let's think about the same amount of resources, the water running through that hose. It's the same as your time and your money and your energy. It's running through that hose. Same amount of money. Now let's run that same amount of water through a metal cutter, the metal cutting machine that uses water. These exist, right? It cuts through steel. The same amount of water put through a very narrow nozzle can cut through steel. Your time, your money, and your energy are the resources that with clarity, that narrowing of that nozzle can help you cut through steel, can help you get the impact in the world that you want and need to have. Clarity is what allows us to take action. So much of the time, as potential entrepreneurs, as potential change makers, we sit there and we can't articulate what it is that we want to do, that we need to do. And that articulation will come with time, and it will come with practice, it will come with a process. But it's there. It's just that you can't articulate it yet. And that clarity is what's going to allow you to, one, take action in the first place. 25% of Americans say they want to start a business, right? 25% of Americans who say they want to start a business never do, right? And there's so much involved with that. There's so much fear. There's a ton of risk. And not having that clarity to allow them to take action, compounded with all the rest of that stuff, just is a non-starter for so many people. So if you know in your heart, you know you have an impact to make on the world, then the next step for you is getting clarity. And, there are ways to start doing that. So I want you to stay tuned, and I want you to check out my other videos, because I want you to start getting clarity. That clarity is what's going to unlock all of this for you. So don't let that feeling go. It won't let you go anyway. And let's start to get to the clarity so that you can start taking action on your full potential.